Hey everybody, Lee Bishop here again. Welcome back to Ghost Hunting 101. In this installment, I'm going to cover the basics of photography for paranormal investigations. Some people call it spirit photography, or excuse me, photography. And, that's you can call it whatever you want, but basically it boils down to taking pictures, hoping you catch evidence of a ghost. Now, first of all, there's a lot of disagreements in the field about what are the best kinds of cameras to use. It used to be that people would swear by analog film cameras due to the nature of using film, and but come to find out, digital photography works just as well, and it's a much more practical route to go because you have the option of shooting many more pictures without having to have them developed, without having the added expense of the film, like I said, the processing, the printing, and it's just the best choice, I feel, all around. Digital cameras have gotten surprisingly affordable. If you're a shrewd shopper, you can pick these up for a little bit of nothing. Very easy piece of equipment to get a hold of. I'm going to show you right here what I've been using. It's a little Samsung 12 megapixel digital camera. You see it's got a nice big screen on the back, and the reason I like this particular camera is you can see here it's got let me pull it out. It has a rechargeable battery, so that's going to keep your expenses down about having to buy batteries, because believe me, that gets really expensive really quickly. And this keeps me from having to plug it into a charger. I just had to plug it into the wall or to my computer for about an hour, and I can use it all night unless there's any kind of battery drain going down. Great thing about these two is you can dump them right to your computer. You can either pull the memory card out if you have a card reader, or hook it up with a USB cable. You can see mine's got a USB port right here. That's much easier to be able to review your evidence, because trying to review something on this screen, even as nice as it is for the camera, is not really practical. You have to really be able to check and blow everything up and see what you can see, especially when it comes down to orbs, and trying to differentiate them from dust and bugs. And I'm going to cover that a little bit later in the video. I'm actually going to show you a few pictures and everything. So basic techniques that I use, there's two schools of thought actually that I subscribe to, which is kind of weird when you think about it. But when you're starting cold going into a place, what I like to do in every room I go into is I like to do what I call grid photography, or photography, excuse me. And what you do is you basically grid the room off visually when you go in. I usually start in one corner or along one wall, and I shoot every angle into the room and along the walls on that from that space. Then I move over to the center of the left wall, the wall left of that, and I start shooting, this way, all around the room, and I work my way around the room entirely doing that until something starts to happen. Now that's your general search pattern. Now once you start getting signs of activity, be it cold spots, EMF spikes, disembodied voices, any kind of activity really, where you start feeling, where someone starts feeling like they're close to something, that's where you want to concentrate your shots at. Okay, and if you got a decent sized memory card in your camera, you can take sometimes thousands of pictures for one single investigation, and that's enough to blanket many size locations very easily. And you want to also make sure to call out a point of operating, especially if you work in the dark, like my team does. You want to make sure to call out to your investigating partners that you're going to be shooting a picture, say flash or something, so they can close their eyes. Because I don't know how many of you have ever been in a pitch black room when a camera flashes went off, but it can blind you. It can make your eyes hurt really bad, and you'll see spots. And your senses are very important when you're investigating, so you want to make sure to close your eyes whenever you can. Whenever you see a rangefinder whenever you see a rangefinder hit before the flash goes off. Just a little piece of advice. You would have picked that up anyway, but I'll save you maybe at least one headache. And if I do that, maybe I've done part of my job. But basically, like I said, that's generally the gist of it. Really, it's just being smart about it, knowing knowing how to search with a camera and then where to shoot once activity picks up. You know, you may get a certain feeling you want to shoot in a certain direction, and that's fine. You know, I'm going to say, you know, trust your feelings and your instincts, especially after you've been doing this for a while. Those are going to become part of your repertoire. And, you know, there's two things that I think a lot of investigators, you know, when they're starting out, fail to utilize, which is your senses, you know, sight, hearing, touch, and smell, even to a certain extent. With some activity, you can get phantom smells. Pay attention to your surroundings. And the second is your mind. Your mind is your most valuable tool when you're investigating, especially when it comes to debunking. Because you want to try to find, of course, any rational explanation before you jump to a paranormal one. But I'm gonna go over debunking and common things like that in another video. So anyway, here in just a second, we're going to take a look at some pictures. I'm going to show you a couple things about what to look for when you're analyzing photographic evidence. And you're going to notice the program that I'm using. You'll see it on the screen capture. Is InfraView. It's a free program. It's basic. It's very, very easy to use. Very user friendly. It has a lot of tools on it that you can use to try and analyze photographs to get to the bottom of it, including very, very easy magnification. And depending on your hardware setup on your computer, it will render pretty well. So let's go over here and take a look at some pictures, alright? Okay, everybody, here's the first picture we're going to look at. This was one from our investigation at the old Greenville jail in Greenville, Tennessee. Now this I'm showing you as a picture of what I would call a false positive, or something that can look like you have some kind of manifestation like an orb, and I'm going to show you why these are not. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here and notice, like InfraView, how easy this is to use. It's just taking a little while probably because I'm running the video software in the background, but yeah, now check these out. You can see these are dust, obviously. You can see if you look closely, there's an interior ring and an exterior ring on each one of these, okay? Now that is basically telling me that there is a particle of dust there and that it's reflecting the camera flash, okay? Now that is going to be something you're going to see very, very often whenever you're taking pictures, especially in old buildings like this. You're going to see these kind of things happen quite a bit. So, you know, just always be on the lookout for that. You're going to learn how to differentiate from dust very, very easily as you go on. Now, we're going to cover this next one is camera smudges. Now, these can look really, really wicked, but you need to look for them. There are types of activity that do manifest in this manner, but you have to be very, very careful in determining those from camera smudges. Now, this one I know is a camera smudge. Simply because when we were doing this investigation, this particular anomaly kept showing up in the same spot in frame every time we took a picture. So I finally took the camera away from the investigator and looked at the lens, and sure enough, there was a smudge on it. I wiped it off; it was gone. Didn't show back up the rest of the night. But as you know, I mean, you can tell that this is this is something. See, it's blocking out everything behind it. You can see smearing almost in the exterior edges. Let me see if I can blow this up a little more without crashing my system, because you can see that it's only that as the smudge wears off, you can see that it's getting a little bit more visible around the edges. And like I said, there are pictures like this that are where activity does show up, and I might have to pause it to pull it up so I can show you. I have a couple like that, but I'll have to look for them. Now, on to the next one. This is what I consider a legitimate piece of evidence. This is I've already zoomed in on it for you so I can show you. Just so you've seen me use InfraView to zoom in and how easy it is to analyze this stuff with it. As you can tell, there's a lot of image editing options. You can see here, you can resize it, you can convert it to grayscale, look at it, cut it to negative to see, to help differentiate from, reflections and that kind of thing. You can edit it. There's options for, doing all sorts of things with this, all sorts of fun stuff. But anyway, back to the piece of evidence at hand. Now this, you can tell, is something that is not dust. It is very big, even in the regular size of the photograph, and I'll show you back here. Here's another one that we got at that same location, but you can see this is the whole shot that this thing shows up in. Now you can see there is some flash reflection here along the edges and off of some of these other pieces, but notice this right here in the middle. And now once again, I'm going to zoom back in on it for you. so we can see it now. As you can notice, this is something else entirely. This is not dust. Notice there's no corona around it. There's no central nucleus or core of it. And also notice that it's free floating. It doesn't seem to have any kind of a flight path at all. There's no edging around it. And also notice you can see the objects in the background through it easily. That post is visible. There's a pipe here in the background that's visible. There's some furniture back here you can see through it. And I know some people are going to say when they look at this, well, there's a lot of brown stuff in the picture. That's true. But if you look, this particular anomaly does not match the color of any of the objects around it. It doesn't match the color of the box. It's a little bit darker than the box. It's definitely lighter than the wood that's around it here and here and here. It's lighter than any of the furniture. It doesn't match the floor, the wall, the ceiling, anything else around it, as you can see here. So this, and we also got EVPs around the same time as this, and spikes on our EMF meter at this investigation. So that's why I feel confident in saying this is a legitimate piece of evidence. So, there's, like I said, there's these are the things to look for, and of course figures. But you have to also be quite aware, and checking your notes for when people are moving around. And that's another thing. Keep good records on your investigation. Make sure to keep a notebook. Have someone with a notebook to log where you are and when, especially if you have a lot of video equipment and audio equipment running, so you'll note where everybody was, and that can help debunk a lot of false positives from video and audio evidence as well as pictures. So, and that's pretty much the examples that I had pulled up for you. I might do a more comprehensive, in-depth thing on photographic analysis in a separate video, just like I'm going to do with the audio evidence analysis. I'm going to do an entire video dedicated to each one of those. So let's go back and let's take this off and go back to talking. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation on basic, photography techniques needed for paranormal investigation. And like I said, I'm going to do a much more in-depth video about, picture analysis and audio analysis a little bit further down the road. As always, I'll ask that you guys subscribe to the channel, like and favorite the videos. Really help kind of try to get the word out there. Because like I said, I'm hoping, I'm doing this for trying to help some more people get out in the field and, start trying to investigate this stuff and get more answers. And as always, please, safety should be your number one priority when you're in the field. I might even do a short video on basic safety rules when you're out in the field investigating. But yeah, like I said, just be safe, get out there. Go to some places, but of course, always try to get permission. I'm not advocating trespassing or guerrilla investigation. That's something I'm not really too fond of, because I don't want to see anyone getting arrested trying to do this. That just takes away from credibility for yourself and the field in general. So be mindful of that kind of thing, and we'll be back with another video as soon as we can. Thanks, guys.